I'm Diane at Healing Bodies, Healing Souls. Wanted to go live and talk about a few things, kind of like talk in real time and not just a video. So you guys can just settle down and relax, unwind. Tonight, I'd like to talk about conversations. If you're good at it, if you're not good at it, if you put attention to it, or if you just kind of fly by the seat of your pants when it comes to communication. Because communication is everything. It's how you communicate, how others communicate with you. It has a connection or no connection. But absolutely everything that we do is based on communication, verbal or nonverbal. And if you want to improve life, it really is upping your communication skills. If you want to get better in business, communication skills. If you want to get closer to your significant others, communication skills. If you want to raise good children, solid young people to be really cool adults, it's communication. Now go ahead and tell me where you're from and rate yourself 1 to 10. 10 being an excellent person for communication. 1, it's not important to you, which will probably freak me out, but that you don't have any thoughts about it. Communication is to be able to relax down, relax in body and mind, be able to actually listen to somebody, be interested in them, and more importantly, give them your time. Now, if you can't do that, then walk away. And if I had kids, I said, kids, I can't talk to you right now. I can talk to you later if it's important. I would not be online right now. But I can't do both and think I'm doing good to either people or anybody. Let's talk about the business world, because a lot of people are struggling right now in the business world. A lot of people are getting laid off, and they have a hard time interviewing. And what is an interview other than speaking? You got to show up and talk. Talk about yourself. Talk about things that you know to impress them about you. And that should be pretty easy. That should be pretty damn simple. But it's not for a lot of people. They get tongue-tied. They don't know how to describe themselves. They don't even speak well of themselves. Now, if you were interviewing me for a position and I was not articulate with my words, I probably wouldn't be a good employee. And if I wasn't listening and responding well, I probably shouldn't be hired. And if you ask me about things about me and I get tongue-tied, well, some bitch, don't hire me. Because whatever position you're going to give me is going to need my communication skills at one level or another. So now let's just say, hey, you want to date me? And let's just say we're out on a date. And I don't talk much. And I get a little quiet, I get a little reserved. And I don't know what to say and I feel uncomfortable. That would make you uncomfortable on our date. And then if you ask me what I like to do, I say, I don't know. What have I been up to? Not much. Do you have any plans for this year? Not yet. Do you have any hobbies? No, not really. I mean, I could take a date and answer like that and have it done and over in about 12 minutes. So even in dating, you got to learn to talk about yourself. You got to learn to be comfortable with showing the world that the person that's interviewing you, your coworker, your boss, your clients, your customers, you got to feel comfortable being seen by somebody. It means you got to like yourself. Is there any questions on any of this? I've been doing energy work, coaching for over 35 years. Damn good at what I do. So what do? I talk to people. And why am I good at talking to people? Because I have eye contact. I listen. I get interested. Oh, tell me more. Oh, did I hear you right? Because a conversation is kind of like tennis. I'll serve the ball. Hey, have you been doing anything exciting since the first of the year? I served the ball. And if you basically said no, it's like, oh. So I didn't get anything back, so I have to serve the ball again. Any new plans for this year that you're going to be doing differently? I haven't thought. It's like, okay, I'm done. Is this kind of making a little bit of sense? I hope so. So 1 to 10, I'm excellent communication. What number are you? The higher number you are, the more successful you will be. Some of my clients could be, again, excellent in communication, and they can go in and power through a boardroom, take charge, kick ass, take names, figure everything out, be cool, calm, and collected. And then they go out on a date and they freeze up. So is that something that you kind of do? So, Smith, I don't, yeah. You can ask me some questions worthy of this moment. But other than that, we'll just move on. Is anybody wanting or needing a better job? It is to upgrade your communication, to be a better team player, to be someone that they want to go and talk to, work long beside. All of this is, again, you feeling comfortable within yourself, for you to show up, I guess it's brave, as a team player, as confident, as empowered. Let me just, now if this makes sense to you, there we go. I'm here to talk about not necessarily serious things, but things that I want you guys to listen to, think about, maybe expand your consciousness with. That maybe 1 or 2 little suggestions might open up something in you so that you can become better and better each and every day. And of course, I have I have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all that stuff. And please follow, please share, please like. But let's talk about how you show up is the outcome that you're going to get. And when you're with higher advanced people, whatever that means to you, when you're with them, they spend a little bit more time in being grounded, being present. Their communications have gone up. So when that happens, they're going to kind of want that back. And it's not right or wrong, but if you want to start playing with the higher advanced people, this is the key. And it is a practice. And hopefully, if you are a parent, you are teaching your children to be really good communicators. Something for you to think about. But whatever age you are at now, we just practice. And sometimes even I go out and I'm like, I'm going to practice my social skills. So I got to remember to clock out of work, that they don't want an energy healer, a life coach, somebody drilling them. Well, sometimes they do, but I don't want to be her. I want to be me. So a lot of times helping yourself is learning to not have multiple personalities. I've worked with them, but to have your business persona and then also have your personal persona, and know that they are going to be needing different parts of you. As a business owner, I'm in charge. But when we're out and about, that Diane is in charge doesn't need to show up. And so I want to practice that I remember, it's my favorite word, I remember that I'm actually clocking out of my business mode and into my personal mode. And I help a lot of people want to date more successfully. And one client, she said, "Oh, I really enjoyed the date." And I'm like, "Oh, that's fantastic. What did you guys talk about?" And then she looked at me, she bowed her head because she knew. And she's like, "We talked about work." And I said, "Yes, and that's your safety net. Because you've been so programmed to be so good in the business world that it's second nature. That is effortless. And you have programmed her and conditioned her to be so incredibly good that the one that is clocked out hasn't had that much room and space to develop herself." So when you go on a date and you're talking too much about business, that can get old after a while, because you clock in to your business self, and that's traditionally opposite of being your personal self. And so think for a moment, because I'm here to inspire. And I get a lot of these, stupid questions that are from idiotic people. But I'm here because I really want to help and support. I had a little bit of time, and I thought to myself, why don't we talk about the art of communication? So when you go out with somebody, a friend, a date, a significant other, are you on your phone, or can you put it away? Are you making eye contact? When you talk, do you actually look at the person? When they talk, are you actually looking at them? I make people uncomfortable at times because I look at them when I talk and I look at them when they talk. And if that is uncomfortable for them, then they have a lot of energy about being uncomfortable. There's this one female that I went out with and had lunch with, and she just randomly talked all over the place. And I thought, that has major nervous system going on. It's a fight or flight, fawn or freeze. She wasn't present. She wasn't grounded. She was disconnected from herself. So I'm thinking to myself, do I want to do this again? And I heard no. Because why do I want to hang out with somebody? Thanks, Elizabeth. Why do I want to hang out with somebody? To have a good time, to connect, to learn, to get to understand another person. Now, if they're on their phone all the time, forget it, I'm done. If they're looking all over, and not just like watching people, but if they're so nervous in the moment that they can't be here, I'm not coming back. Now, I'd like to ask you, do you think that sounds rude, or it's just not a good match? Because I put a lot of time and energy and practice into being Diane. And I know a lot of you have also. If not, we're going to, starting today. So the conversation today is really on communication. And I thought it would be kind of cute. You could get, 50 pennies. You could get 50 pinto beans. It doesn't matter. And put 50 in your dominant pocket. And then each time you notice that you interrupt somebody, take one item, take one penny, one bean, and put it in the other pocket. And you'll see how many times you interrupt. And then I want to say put 2 each time you have to apologize for interrupting. I want to say you have to do 100, but you'd have to have a wheelbarrow to carry all that around. I don't want to hang out with people that interrupt me all the time and then apologize and continue to interrupt. We're adults. We're in the adult world. We're in the business world. And if you're showing up with such poor behaviors, recognizing that you have poor behaviors in those moments, but you're not strong enough, conscious enough, mature enough to change that right then and there, I don't want to hear a sorry. I just don't want to hear a sorry. So, with that said, put 50 pennies, nickels in your pocket. Each time that you are now being aware of how you show up, each time that you don't do it well, move a penny over. And you will be quite amazed once you start to notice how you're showing up. Because a lot of times people notice how other people show up. And I want to help you, watch you, to change you into a stronger person. I'm a life coach, energy healer. I read people all day long. And I know that we all want to become better and better. And I know so many people don't know where to start. Communication is pretty much step one, especially in the business world. especially in the dating world, especially at home, all over. You take classes, have good communication skills. Because if you have good communication skills, you're going to have good writing skills. I don't want you to keep getting frustrated in life, keep complaining about life. Get so old. Keep doing it wrong because you haven't figured out how to do it a different way. And it's like if I was teaching you how to hit a baseball. It may take you 1 or 3 or 5 times to hit it, and you're probably not going to knock it out of the park. But each time you swing and you learn a little bit more, you're better off. And then each time you make contact, it gets a little bit more exciting and you want to do it again. But if you're not practicing a new way to become better, then you actually reduce down and then you put up with the same old. And then after a while, this is a human response, natural response for us to blame the other person. It's not my fault, it's my husband's fault. It's not my fault, it's my coworker's fault. Well, I know a few people that have complained about every coworker they've ever had in the 15 years I've known them. How can that happen? Well, it happens because they are the common denominator, the one that hasn't changed, matured, leveled up, and just blames others so they don't have to take responsibility. Now, years back, a cute story. Hopefully you'll laugh with me. I was out one night, and long story short, this young girl across the bar, it was just her and I basically, and one guy in the back. She just kind of yelled over, "Can I be your friend?" And I instantly looked up and looked at her, looked up again, and I said, no. Now, a lot of people think that was rude. Her boyfriend thought it was rude. She thought it was rude. The bartender thought it was rude. I could accept that. But in that moment, all I heard was my own voice and my own answer. They left shortly after that. And I asked the bartender, I said, that sound kind of rough? And he said, yeah, I'd say so. I said, okay, I can accept that. But that was my truth. Now, if she would have said, can I come over and sit by you? It's like, oh, yeah, it's a free world. But can I be your friend? No. So I'm not saying in communication that you always have to say nice things, that you always have to agree. I want you to be able to stand on your own 2 feet, think for yourself, own your words, and build your confidence up. The more that I meet people in the outside world, and of course in my business, there's not a lot of confident people. And it could have been because of the virus. It could be because of the plague, all that stuff. And they are right to a certain extent that really did lower our ability to actually practice the art of communication. But we can't stay underneath that story any longer. So what do? We practice. Thanks for asking. And how do we practice? We go out, we talk to people, and we focus on ourselves. Eye contact. Yes, I'm looking at them. Am I listening to them, or am I listening to jump in? So, okay, I was jumping in, so I'm going to relax that. Normally, it's a nervous body and a nervous energy. Okay, I'm going to take a few deep breaths. I'm going to go back into being engaged, listening to them, and relaxing and enjoying the moment. then after a while you won't have to practice it because it will be more simple, easy, comfortable, relaxing, and even enjoyable. Because if you don't have good communication skills, as I've said before, it's going to hurt in the business world, in the personal world, in the relationship world, and in the family raising children. It's just going to lower your grades all throughout. Trust me. So, if you want to better yourself, you're going to practice until you get good at it. And you're going to practice some more because life is a playground. It's also a school. Anything and everything that we do gets stronger. We got to practice more because everything is moving forward. And if you haven't been practicing in the art of communication or other areas, there's 5, 6 other areas we could talk about, then you are stalling out, almost like you are rolling backwards as life is rolling forward, and you're going to get further and further away from real success. Because I love a good person that can have deep conversations. I truly enjoy meeting people that is like a game of tennis that goes back and forth. I like connections. And or I'd rather just sit there silently by myself. Because I don't want to listen to somebody in full ego. And I don't want to listen to anybody that is overly negative and complaining about anything and everything. I'd rather just sit in silence because I'm okay being with this person, with myself. This is a bonus if it's a bonus. And if it's not a bonus, I'm going to say no to it. And there's many times in conversation where especially men, will misbehave, get a little stupid, overbearing, and I will, of course, put them in their place. So do you see that even in communication, it's going to make you a stronger person? I'm not saying you always have to be nice, but pay attention and handle it well. Show up strong. Have healthy boundaries. And maybe that's what's happening. Maybe you have very poor boundaries because you were not raised to actually stand up and show up. Because I was very poorly raised in communication. Well, look at me now. You can change. I had an exceptionally rough time communicating, speaking, standing with my chin up and shoulders back when I was younger. And through a lot of trauma and a lot of stuff, and the way I was raised, it's to keep your mouth shut. So then you get into the adult world and you hear in your background, keep your mouth shut kind of mentality. And now I'm supposed to talk. We have that conflict going on. And then that's when we go in and heal the wounds. Stop the records that keep playing in the background like it is present time true. It's fascinating because what I do for a living, and I've been a retired wedding photographer, portrait photographer, retired over 10 years ago maybe. But I've done over 600 weddings. And I'm exceptionally good as a photographer, but I was even more better as somebody that they could trust through communication, that they could lean on through communication, that they could understand through communication, that I was going to show up. And then there was other photographers that might have even been a better photographer that couldn't sell anything. They're the reserved ones, the quiet ones, the ones that wouldn't stand up and show up for a bride and a groom. So do you see how communication in your career will make or break your money? It's really that simple. So 1 to 10, how good of a communicator are you? Throw me some numbers. Do you like to sit down and talk to people? Is that safe for you to do? Because I know a lot of people get pretty uptight, nervous when they have to sit down and talk to people that they may not know. Now, my business is healing bodies, healing souls. And I do meditation, energy, and relationship retreats up in Northern California. And one time in meditation, I said to everybody, I said, would you like to have lunch now? Or should we do a half hour, 45-minute meditation? And they're all just kind of like looking at each other. Nobody wanted to say or speak their own truth. And I'm like, I'll be back. So I ran into another room and I brought out a bunch of bandanas. And I said, everybody will stay seated. You're all safe. Of course. I'd like for each and every one of you to blindfold yourself. And they did. And then one lady who just always had to fix her hair, make sure everything was fine, she was actually relaxed. She just let go. And I was able to ask them, Bob, would you like lunch now? Would you like to meditate? And he actually had to answer from his own self, not looking around. And it was quite powerful. The lesson is answer the damn questions from your own space. Stop being apologetic. You're important. You matter. And the stronger that you become as a communication, and please follow, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. I'm here to give you value. I'm here to tweak a few different things in your thought patterns that you may think, damn, that Diane, she may know something. And I do want to follow her. I do want to support her and show up. And follow me all over Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Send me some messages. Respond. Oh, we are talking about communication, aren't we? All my clients upgrade their communication after working with me. All my clients learn to speak their truth more and more. And again, learning how to do something is fantastic. And then we practice. It's not like, okay, I did it that one time and I'm done. What's my next task? Yeah, no, you're going to be practicing the social skills, communication skills for the rest of your life. You do not pass this test and just retire. But I want you to enjoy this. I want you to enjoy the art of communication. I want you to be bold, if bold makes sense. I want you to be dominant in your own voice, if it makes sense. So to see, once you start to learn how to communicate well, how to show up strong, how to pay attention, how to listen, how to engage in that moment, it's actually going to give you room to grow and actually become a stronger, better you. And I know you want that. And if you didn't know that, you know it now. Why do I get along with people? I was out a couple years ago, and I was talking to this one gentleman, and I remember it, of course, because I'm paying attention, I'm conscious, I'm aware, I'm listening. It will help you. And maybe that's one thing that's hard for people. They're not used to staying engaged in a moment. Their mind is so much all over the place, needing a distraction, that it's so hard to actually be present with somebody. So we're going to practice that next time. Oh, absolutely, Cheryl. Because without communication, everything's going to go sideways. But this gentleman, he looked at me and he said, "Are you a therapist?" And I'm like, was I overstepping my boundaries? I thought I was doing really good. I was listening, I was engaging, didn't give him any advice. And I'm like, why would you say that? He said, because you are listening. And I'm like, wow. Wow, that's really what it took. You want to get closer to people? Pay attention. Listen. Be interested. And please, I don't know if I can cuss on this thing. Don't give anybody your own advice. No goddamn advice. Unless they've asked for it. Unless you're really good in that area. Unless you're a master or an expert, don't give advice. It just makes my stomach sick when I think about people, when you're talking and they just want to give you their advice when you didn't even want it, wasn't asking for it, wasn't looking for it. And they just have to hop right in. It is nauseous to me. Now, I do like advice from a master, from an expert, from somebody that is exceptionally good in that area. I'm all ears. Somebody just wants to spit out vomit conversation and poor advice. No, I'll stop them. Oh, hell no. Ain't gonna happen. Does that make sense? And again, how can I do that? Because I'm confident. Why am I going to do that? Because I'm paying attention. Why can I do that and not worry about it? Because I got to take care of this person. And I was having a drink a while back with a lady I met at the gym, and I was talking to her about something. And I said, "Oh, and it didn't work out." And she's like, "Oh, can I give you some advice?" And I whipped around, looked at her, and I said, "No." And she's like, "Oh. And I said, "Yeah, no. It's not your field of expertise. You don't have a lot of background in this, and it's a no." She got a little maybe offended. But I don't want to have a conversation, and you don't want to give a conversation where you're all about trying to perform for them so that they're impressed with you. And if you want to have them be impressed with you, just listen. Soft questions, soft comments. That's really what it takes. A while back, I was talking to a girlfriend. She called me and she's like, "We bought a new car over the weekend." I'm like, "Oh, it's so exciting. Good for you. What'd you get?" She said, "Oh, we got this." I said, Oh, that's exciting. What color is it?" I'm a female. She said, "Oh, it's green." I said, "Oh, I love those." I said, "So now, will you be driving it more? Will your husband be driving it more?" And she's like, "I just love talking to you, and you're so safe to call." That's what I'm talking about when it comes to engagement, making somebody feel good. Not like, "Oh, my neighbor three doors down has one. Who cares? She doesn't care." "Oh, yeah, that color. It's going to show a lot of dirt." No, she doesn't need all that negative talk. What does she want? She called me because she was excited, and I wanted to be excited for her. That's why communication is intimacy. That's why that gentleman said, "Oh, are you a therapist?" Because you actually listened to me. I didn't give him any advice. He didn't ask for any. So my girlfriend called up and she's so excited to have a conversation with me. I'm safe. So hopefully you have learned a little bit tonight is to practice your communication by paying attention to how you show up, and please like, follow, all that groovy stuff. I block a lot of people when I'm on because I don't want the stupid questions and the trolls and all that. I want to give you good advice. I want this to be strong for you. I want something to kind of click in your mind and go, "Huh, okay, that's pretty solid." And even if you change 1 or 3 or 4%, after a while, it's going to be huge. Not expecting this major overnight thing, it can happen. But it's like going to the shooting range. I'm a country girl. If you're off the target, it really is just the smallest little shift that's hardly noticeable to get you back into center. I'm sure your communication skills are relatively good. So now it's time to finesse it. It's time to upgrade how you show up in the presence of people. And the only way that you're going to learn is focus on yourself. How am I showing up? Am I paying attention? Am I giving too much advice? Am I interrupting? Am I adding too much? And once you start to notice yourself, because the only one that you can change, then you can get improvements. And after a while, they'll even notice and they'll shift and change. As a life coach, energy healer, years ago, I was working with a lady. It was probably 8, 9 months of working with her. She came in. Now, her husband was an alcoholic. Her 2 adult daughters knew that dad was an alcoholic. Everybody in the family knew that dad was an alcoholic. And I'd never worked with him. He never came into my office. And she came in and she said, he stopped drinking. He put away the bottle. I said, that makes sense. She didn't ask him to in language. Because again, 70% of our communication is nonverbal. Because you will know if I don't like you. I don't even have to say a word. You're going to know if I like you. I don't even have to say a word. So he stopped drinking. Didn't have to go to rehab. Why did he stop drinking? Because she relaxed. Communication got closer and better with him. Not that she's driving him to drink. But it was a stickness between the two of them. It was an uncomfortableness. And once they started getting closer and he saw her change, he chose to be a better man for her. She never asked him to stop drinking. He chose that on his own because, again, her nonverbal language relaxed down. She wasn't just openly in body language judging him. And then he actually started to notice how she changed and was looking to see how he could change along beside her. Now, what does that mean to you guys? Because to me, that's a beautiful story. It's probably 15 years ago. I'll always remember her. I love connecting with people. I love getting to know people. We're pack animals. Community, especially women. American Indian traditions is the women would tell stories to the little ones and keep the traditions going. So, especially with female energy, we thrive more in community, which is an open heart and to be of service to others. And so that's why language is intimacy, is to have that open heart, to be able to access your heart and have it open and being safe to be around. I need to work on listening better. Yeah. Thank you for that. What happens is that it's that knee-jerk reaction. It's in the everything's in the nervous system. And if you think about it, it's just like, oh, I need to perform. I need to say something. I need to be important. I need to add. And you don't. You can just listen. You can just give them the microphone and not need it. Because a lot of times in my session, I'll tell my clients is that each time, if I was out with somebody and each time I was talking and it's just like, oh yeah, I was raised in Modoc County, and they'll be like, oh, and then they'll take the mic. It's like, oh, I was raised in the Bay Area. Oh, okay. And I graduated with, and then they'll interrupt. It's like taking the microphone away in between my sentences, not allowing me to get my story out, possibly when they even asked about my story. And being an ex-photographer, and even what I do now, but people, a lot of men, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm a photographer, a wedding portrait photographer. And I remember one night, these two guys is like, oh, do you do real estate photography? I said, yeah, no, I'm a portrait wedding photographer. He's like, oh yeah. You need to get into some real estate photography. And he's going on and like I wouldn't know real estate photography. He was not a realtor. He was not a photographer, but he wanted to perform, look important, take over the microphone. And I'm like, yeah, no. So later, my girlfriend and I were laughing, and I said, I get so frustrated with these people that ask you a question, oh, what do you do? And then they immediately take over the microphone and have a lot of, what's the word I want to say, advice to give wasn't needed. I laughed and I said to my girlfriend, I said, I think I'm going to tell them I just work at Home Depot. In the evenings, I run forklift. So then they wouldn't be dominating the moment, telling me what to do, and trying to change me. So, yeah. A better listener is safer to like, safer to be around. Because think about this, and this is interesting. If you're not a very good listener and you interrupt a lot, is it because you're interrupting with a lot of excuses? And please like, follow, and all that groovy stuff. Because one of my clients, she actually almost drove me crazy. She wants to make more money. Perfect. I can help you guys do that quick and fast. Okay, so well, it's 2026. You're going to need to start posting more. You have a business. Oh, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. I'm sorry. You want to make some more money, and I'm telling you, I'm showing you. I even showed her how to do it. She's like, yeah, no. I said, well, I am requiring you to do a minimum of 5 a week. 5? Yeah, 5. That's what I said out loud. She just didn't. She wouldn't. So in conversation, and I'll talk about this, Cheryl, in a minute. In conversation, if you're interrupting a lot, is it because you're complaining? Are you the victim? Are you whining? Something to think about. Cheryl, I went on first date. He was so quiet. I filled the space with, yeah, about me. Yep. He never called me again. I do a lot of relationship coaching, and I'll tell you one thing, it's rough. Because what happens, Cheryl, is that everything fits in 100%. I can't give 100, you give 110%, I give 1,000%. No, anything over 100% is dysfunctional. So Cheryl, you and I are sitting together and we're talking. And a really good balance would be you talk about 50% of the time, I talk about 50% of the time, and we have a good balance. But if you're on a date and he's not talking very much at all, and you're talking a lot, what happens is that he's not talking much. He's talking 5%, 10% of the time. And if you crowd the rest of the way and just do that 90%, he won't have time to grow or move. And you're overcompensating when I don't want you to overcompensate really for anything again. So if I went on a date tomorrow night, everybody's Bob, and Bob only talked for 10, 15% of the time, I'm going to be conscious, pay attention, I'm going to be aware, and I won't bring more than 30%. So I maybe double what he's doing, but I'm not going to rescue him by filling in the gap that he can't do. Well, meditation, I teach, I'm in California, and every Wednesday, 7 to 8:30, I have a mind mastery, coaching, meditation, and healing circle on Zoom. You're looking at about $80 for the month. Well, Cheryl, if you do that 80, 90%, he was going to be boring because you may have crowded him too much for him to open up. So if anybody's interested in a phenomenal, because I've been meditating for over 35 years. Crazy. Wednesday night Zoom meditation. I used to do it in my office. This is before the plague and the virus. But people would come in a little late. Some people would take off their winter coats. In meditation class, a winter coat is very, very loud. Or they'd have to have a drink during meditation. And one lady, I would say, for the next meditation, move, stand up if you like. Are you ready? Perfect, thank you. Okay. Tell the body no movement. Take a deep breath. Within 4 or 5 minutes, she's cracking her knuckles. Oh. And some people would cough, of course. So now that it's Zoom, I don't hear if anybody's cracking her knuckles, taking off a winter jacket, showing up late, or having to leave early. So I really do love the meditations online. And also as a hypnotist and meditating for over 35 years, I can really bring that nervous system down and relax and soften and allow people to stay there after class. Compared to in my office, I had to wake them up more, slap them around a little bit, throw some water on them so that they could drive home. So, yeah. So, Cheryl, I think your question was, he was boring. He didn't talk much. If I was sitting beside you guys at another table, of course, I'm not that weird. I think you were overcompensating and crowding him in conversation a little bit. $80 for the month, every Wednesday, 7 to 8:30. Pretty groovy stuff too. I wouldn't be who I am had I not started meditating for over 35 years ago. See, my oldest, yeah, it's going on about 37 years now. It was my first meditation class. So please message me, Jen, and we can talk about it. On my YouTube channel, I have some of my meditations, and I do have a meditation class that I posted. So you can kind of see, classes are small. Some of them can't make Wednesday nights, so they watch the recording. And it's a real good deal. So everybody take a couple deep breaths. Yeah, Cheryl. How old are you? Because you're too old to be nervous. And I mean that in loving kindness, of course. Yeah. Cheryl, what the hell? No more nervous. Because I study everything, it feels like. If you're next to a horse, that horse is going to get nervous. If you're next to a infant and you're nervous, that infant's going to get nervous. Well, there you go. Take a couple deep breaths. What you're doing, I'm sure you're just meeting another groovy person. And it's not going to go well. It's not going to go bad. It's just a moment in time where you're just going to be opposite of a person that you don't know. But when communication is so easy and so simple, that dating is comfortable. I'm single right now, and the men, well, actually said I was so nervous, and weren't you? And I'm like, no. Zach, I'll give you a smidge of a break if you're 34. You can be a tad bit more nervous. But also, what I want is you to show up just relaxed and interested in just getting to know another groovy person, whether it's going to work out or not, and to practice your social skills. That's really what it's all about. And then if it goes really well, you two might get together again. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. But it's not like if it doesn't work out, you're going to get the death card. It just means that, hey, you learn what you don't want a little bit more. And everything is in the communication. So Zach, does it make sense that sharpen your communication skills you'll be less nervous? And people do not need medication because of nerves, because of anxiety. I know so many people, they're on medication because they have anxiety, and it's just like, you're not learning your lesson. And the drugs, of course, are really bad for your body, liver, kidneys, and all that good stuff. Alters your personality. It makes you numb so that you live a little bit off. I don't know what TBH is. I don't even know if I want to ask. So Jen, any more questions? And please follow me. Also, look up some of my YouTubes for meditation. My Instagram, I think I'm going to do a series next week where you're going to possibly win a free class or two, and or a free 15-minute personal meditation. So it might be kind of fun for you to follow me on Instagram. Oh, okay. Yeah. We're all here to become better and better and better. Healing bodies, healing souls. Yeah, you'll be able to see me. You can type in my name, Diane Gysin, and or Healing Bodies, Healing Souls in YouTube. And my website and Words of Wisdom and YouTube or meditation will all show up. And please like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. When I show up here, I do. Cheryl, you could be my soul sister. But I'm here to inspire. That's why some of the stupid comments and this and that, I just automatically go in and block them. I know a lot of people will go on Instagram or TikTok and do a lot of just, hey, what, and all that. Yeah. No, I'm not about that. I want to bring value. I want to pique your interest. I want to inspire you to become more and more, better and better each and every day. I actually practice and study this pretty much every day. It's just part of who I am. Ooh. I came out with my book. My book, Healing Bodies, Healing Souls, on Amazon. You can type in my name, Diane Gysin. Awakening the energy that changes everything. Because as an energy healer, life coach, intuitive reader, energy is everything. That's our fuel. Oh, thanks, Zach. I don't know if I can post with a link. It's on Barnes and Noble website. It's not going to be in their on their show floor. But everything is energy. That's our fuel. And it's positive or negative, it's up or down, it's left or right. And the more that you start to understand about your energy, is what I talked about a few minutes ago. Horses will feel your energy, actually feel in their body, in their nervous system, in their heart. They'll feel your energy. And once they feel your energy, they will adjust accordingly in survival mode. So if you are uptight, nervous, then they're going to get nervous. They're not going to trust you. Same with children, possibly even with dating, because we ricochet off each other's energy. And the stronger you become. Oh, Shauna, good question, and thank you. Go ahead and message me, and I can share some information of my readings and energy work. My website, healingbodieshealingsouls.com, will give you a lot of information too. I do individual readings, and I also do packages, depending on if you want some coaching involved. But thank you for this moment. There's a lot of people who will do readings, but to me, unless it's really followed through with some good coaching and deep understanding of where you are and where you need to go, and to be able to bridge that gap of where you are and where you want to go, it's just words that don't have any foundation. And so 400-pound person knows how to eat better. So it's not about knowing what it is. A lot of times, because I love reading cards, I love reading people, but it is to break it down so that there's action, so that there is accountability, so that there are steps to take for success to show up. I was working with a couple last week. I worked with him a few times, and I said, bring her on board. So I was having a coaching session with both of them. And previously he said, wow, you really know what words to use. I'm like, oh yeah, I know how to hit it and hit it hard. And in the session with her, she said, I now am starting to understand more about what I knew, but I didn't know how to do. Because in relationships, I talk a lot about communication and how the man shows up and how the woman shows up. And just watching them, he was showing up, he would get aggressive, loud, and she would get more aggressive and more loud. And I'm like, what the hell? It's like you're two little 7-year-olds at a playground and there's no parents around. I said, you cannot have this communication and think that you're doing yourself or the other any good. This is like garbage you're throwing at each other. And they're like, and my sessions are on Zoom. So they were in their own box, and then I had my own box, and I record it and I send it to them. I said, I want you guys to each watch it individually, watching how you behave in the presence of me, which was not all that great, but how you show up in conversation with your significant other that you are, I don't know, supposed to love. Because I didn't see any love between the two of you. I saw competition. I saw aggression. I saw that I need to be right, which he or she needs to be wrong. I didn't see any love, though. And that's what we'll work on next time. Absolutely. And Cheryl, a lot of men really, really like me because I can be a little foul mouthed, pretty funny at times, but I'm not like stuck up. I'm not a therapist. Oh, tell me more. I'm like, are you effing kidding me? Dog, you ain't going to do that. You ain't going to do that in my presence. So a lot of men really, really like my style. Thanks, Zach. Rock on. Yeah. Rock on. Yeah, it's because when they feel safe, when they feel comfortable, when they feel heard, they'll open up. And it's like an act of God sometimes to get a man to really open up. But that's our job. It's not my job just as a spiritual coach, advisor. It's my job as a woman. And I remember one of my male friends, I'll remember it. It was 5 years ago, but it was like yesterday. I hear the tone in my mind. He said, Diane, you will never understand how painful it is to lay beside your wife, wanting her and knowing she doesn't want you. Like, oh, dang, that hurt. Talk about a stab to the heart. And he's a good guy. Would I marry him? No, but he's a good guy. But they didn't help each other. And then one will start to turn their back a little bit more, and then the other one will start to turn the back a little bit more, and then the distance shows up. So as far as it's learning the patterns, looking at the energy that has created all of this. I had, oh, this is cute. I had another couple 2 weeks ago, worked with him for a while, and then he brought her on, and it was their second or third session. And I'm looking at both of them, and they're like two peas in a pod. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And it was quite interesting. So I looked at them and I thought to myself, oh, okay, I'm going to do this. So I grabbed my deck of cards. And they're in their 40s something. And so I grabbed my cards and I said to them, I said, okay, I'm going to throw down 3 cards for the wife. And then I read those. And I said, okay, I'm going to throw 3 cards for the husband. And now I'm going to throw 3 cards down for your marriage, for your relationship. And they were blown away. And I've had cards. I've been doing cards for 30-something years. And I said, so what'd you think? Did you like that? And they both said that they'd never had their cards drawn. Okay. Possibly could have asked. Didn't even think about that part. But I just threw down cards, and here is the fear of change. So that's what's happening to a lot of people. Now, I love this deck of cards because when I pulled it, it was going this way, fear of change. If it was this way, it would be making plans. So then I'm able to intuitively go in and read it much deeper and give them some really, really deep information. Now, I've always been able to do readings without cards, but for them, it felt like it was more validated, maybe, because I don't go like, oh, the spirits are telling me, or I'm getting this download. I'm going to be like, yeah, no, it's this, this, and this. And I think in the past, they thought it was just my really, really good opinion, but it's not. I am channeling so much information. But it was pretty groovy. So I'm starting to do some tarot reading in my clients, if I know that they're going to be a little bit more open to it. Some of my clients would just not want that, which is 100% fine. Yeah. So my sessions are interesting. I'll look at the chakras, the aura, the energy, the timeline. Sometimes entities will show up. Sometimes past lives will show up. But it just gives you the deepest understanding of what's really going on so that the mind can understand it. The energy is being shifted, cleansed, healed, understood, released. And then that is the most beautiful time to write another story real quick and real fast and embed it into you. And that's a lot of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And being a hypnotist is just easy. And so NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, is listening to your story, looking at it. Okay, so here's your story, Cheryl. Yeah, I got it. But what do you want? And a lot of times what people want, they don't know. So I'll ask and I'll elicit information from you so that I know what you want. And then all of a sudden, this one goes away, the new one shows up, bam, it's embedded in you, and you may not even realize. And then when you watch the video again, It will just embed it deeper. A client of mine called me a few years back, had a couple questions. And I said, yeah, I got time. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm talking so fast. I've been drinking too much coffee. And I started laughing and I said, you're drinking too much coffee? And she's like, yeah, I know. And I said, well, do you want to keep drinking too much coffee? And she's like, no. Because I always have to ask for permission to shift and change. So she gave me confirmation that she wanted to change that. And please like, follow, subscribe, all that stuff. And so I said, oh. So I said, oh, okay. So I got it. I went in and I said, so how many cups of coffee have you been drinking? And she's like, oh, 2 or 3. And I said, oh, wow, 2 or 3. And if you did it more right, because my language changes, my wording, my phrasing, my framing of language changes. I said, well, if you did it more right, what would it look like? And she's like, oh, I just drink 1 a day. I said, oh, okay, just 1 a day. That makes sense. We're on the phone. I said, what time of day would you have that 1 cup of coffee? So I'm repeating. And she's like, oh, in the morning. I said, some of my male friends, they get up at 4:30 in the morning. She's like, oh, yeah, no. It'd be 8 o'clock. I said, okay, in or around 8. Totally makes sense with your lifestyle. And then after that 1 cup of coffee, repeating it again, I said, what else would you drink as far as fluid? She's like, oh, I just drink water. I said, oh, okay. Well, water is our first medicine. So great choice. Inspiring her, opening her up a little bit more. And I said, so 1 cup in or around 8 a.m. and then water afterwards. And then I'm on the phone. And then I felt in her nervous system, because everything is energy, it just dropped in. And I'm on the phone. I said, oh, shit, I got a client. I got to go. And I hung up on her, laughing. 3 days later, she came into my meditation class. And she's like, did you work on me? I said, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? And she's like, ever since I talked to you, I've only had 1 cup of coffee in the morning. I said, well, you did say you wanted to change it. That was pretty quick, pretty easy, and pretty fast for me. So, yeah. So everybody take a couple deep breaths. Follow, like, subscribe. I have my YouTube, Instagram, all that good stuff. And I'm here to really just give you some good stories. And also, I'm very excited. It is on Amazon, my book. I'm proud of myself for following through and doing this. It's 200 pages. It also is going to give you some room to make some good notes. Because again, as I said a little while ago, you may know a lot, but are you able to embody it, change it, shift the old patterns and create new patterns? Because you can't take an old pattern and just put a new one on it. The old one is heavier, it's been here longer, and it's just going to bleed right through the new one and show back up again. Cheryl, could you message me on this TikTok and we can talk tomorrow? Or you can go to my website, healingbodieshealingsouls.com. And you can, it'll say book a call, and you can create your own consultation. It says $25 if you do not show up. And then plan on about 30 minutes. Will it be just you and I, or will it be the 3 of us? And my goodness, I've been on for an hour and 20. Well, it's the same price for you and I, or the 3 of us, where all of that we'll talk during a consultation. I'm quick and fast and I'm good. I just need to understand a little bit of what the two of you are going to be requiring. It's kind of like braces. Got to look in the mouth and see what's going to need to be done before I can quote some braces. But I have over 20 certificates in different healing modalities. So I am a intense transformational coach. And that's powerful. And then being an intuitive reader energy healer, I'm also a Reiki Grandmaster and advanced pranic healer, which to me is 3 times stronger than Reiki. The NLP shifts the stories so you'll get results real quick and real fast. Hypnosis will relax the body down so that you are more accessible in the subconscious mind to be able to shift and change. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so I'm in California, but I have people from New York, from Wisconsin, Colorado, Texas, all that. I appreciate you, Cheryl. And so my sessions are life altering. And I have such a passion for it also. And Cheryl, working at the hospital, what do you do at the hospital? And thank you for working at the hospital. I traditionally don't necessarily like doctors per se, but I've got a lot of healing stories because everything is energy. And when you start to shift your energy up and you start to get more empowered, your body doesn't age so fast. You have a little bit more piss and vinegar. You'll like this thing called life a little bit more. You'll have some style, some groove going on. I meet people that are my age and I'm like, oh my goodness, they're the ancient ones. And I'm like, oh, I cannot age like that. My daughters are watching me. I want to be hip hop and cool and groovy. I want to be able to, at this age, grab my keys and walk out my door and do whatever I want to do. And it takes good, positive energy. It takes courage. It takes a higher form of fuel. So the stronger the engine, the more powerful the car is, the higher the octane needs. And that's kind of with us too. Okay, Cheryl. My dad was born 1.5 pounds at home, put in a cigar box on top of the oven door. And a week later, the doctor came back and filled out a birth certificate. And he lived until he was 83. He was badass. So I come from a very strong stock. So any questions on communication? That's really kind of like the flavor of tonight. We have a massive will to live. That's why if we're walking along and a car gets real close, we instantly jump. But not a lot of people have a strong will to live healthy, emotionally balanced. And that's what I'm kind of seeing more and more. I work with a lot of professionals that may be exceptionally good in the business world, but they haven't developed their personal life well enough. I know a lot of people that are just too loose and that can't survive well in the business life. So it's yin and yang. It's balance. It's left and right, up and down. Thank you, Cheryl. I've been through the cesspools of hell like most people, but I know because I have the tools I know how to stand up a little bit faster than most, dust myself off, spit on the ground if I have blood in my mouth, look at the devil and go one step forward. That's how I live my life. Because we've got to get that one step forward so we're out of that getting into something new. And a lot of people get stuck in those stories and they just stay there. It's like they start camping. And they almost, without knowing, they choose it. It's like a badge of honor. And they get sympathy. They get a little help, more help. I know years ago, a person that I know, she needed shoulder surgery. And I said, I could look at that. I could possibly work it out with all the healing that I've done and the transformations that I've done. She's like, oh yeah, no. I need surgery. And then her boyfriend was going to go and stay 2 weeks with her. Her 2 sons were going to up their game and take care of a lot of things around the house. And she was going to be off work for 6 weeks or 3 months. So to have the surgery, she had multiple higher bonuses that she couldn't ask for had she not had the surgery. She couldn't say to her sons, you're at that age that you can start stepping up your game. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't listen. But with surgery, they had to. And he wasn't going to go and just spend that much time with her. But because she's going to need him, he had to. So there's a secondary benefit for anything and everything. So yeah, I love all this stuff. So with that said, and please look at my website, Healing Bodies, Healing Souls. I think all of that is in my bio. And like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me see what I found here. Okay. So if you learned anything, it's the art of communication. Okay. Perfect. Why do you miss your sons, real quick and real fast? Have they moved out? Because I don't want you to miss anybody. It's too low vibration. It's too exhausting. It lowers the energy. It keeps you in the story back there where they were instead of here where they're not, and be okay that they're not here. I don't know if they passed or they just moved out, flew out of the nest. I want you to, Cheryl, but I want you to love yourself a little bit more, and that significant other of yours a little bit more. So, with all of that, communication is everything. And we practice it daily. We pay attention to the words that we use. We want to be kind. We want to pay attention. And we don't want to interrupt. I'm sure there's multiple times when you're having a conversation and it could be pretty deep, it could be pretty important, and they interrupt you. And what they're doing is that they're trying to be important. It's like they're performing. It's like a little 4-year-old, 7-year-old that says, oh, mommy, look, I can do this. And it's just like, yeah, I'm in a conversation right now. There's not a lot of healthy boundaries. So less interrupting. Wait your turn. Give them grace, give them room, give them space so that they have the ability to interact with you where they feel that they're important and that they're being heard and seen and witnessed. Be kind in your conversation. Drop the control issues. Because if we're talking and you have a lot of control issues, which you're trying to dominate, then the person that you're talking to is going to go small, less speaking, more just bowing down. You're never really going to get to know that person well. Or they have to get a little bit more aggressive. And then it gets to be a pissing contest that maybe you created. And then you wonder, why am I not happy in my life? And it could be your communication skills. It could be how you don't pay attention and the stories are all about you and not necessarily about them. Years ago, something happened to me pretty bad. And I don't tell a lot of people until it's over. And I told one of my male friends, pretty close to, and I said, oh, this happened. He's like, oh, wow. People have committed suicide over this. I'm like, yeah. Yeah. They have. Thank you. But I have 2 daughters. Thank you. But it's just like, what the hell? Why did he say that? Was he going to hand me a gun or a bottle of pills? Was he going to put me on a 5150? He was unconscious, unaware, stupid, non-supportive. So then I can trace that back, and in his, we were just friends. I'm a photographer, he's a videographer, so that was it. But I could trace back all of his romantic relationships. Is that how he showed up? That is why he was the demise of those relationships. It all ties itself together. And I want you to be able to promote excellent conversations with your children. So they can walk into a room and feel like they can go toe-to-toe with anybody. That they can sit at a table with different kinds of people and feel comfortable. Not questioning their worth, but knowing their worth. Whether they're 14 or 20 or 40 or 60, it doesn't matter. My youngest daughter was probably 12 or 14. And a friend of mine was over, and he goes around all over the United States and interviews the top of all of the colleges in the United States, Harvard, Yale, Stanford. He goes and he hires the elites. And one night he was over, we were talking business, and my youngest daughter came down. She's bebopping down the stairs. Oh, Erin, come, sit with us. And she's like, oh, Ray. So we're talking, and he looked at her and said, then the college people that I interview, college graduates from Yale, Harvard, Stanford. She's like, really? He's like, well, yeah. He's like, let me ask you a question. And she's like, okay. And she's like 12, 14. And he says, well, tell me something about yourself. And she's like, oh, that's easy, because there's no right or wrong answer. Most graduates cannot answer that question, because when you get so highly focused in possibly school, in higher education, in A to B, B to C, in technical, in spreadsheets, that they forgot to practice the social skills that will get them the job. That's why we work on communication. And years ago, the big companies are no longer hiring for just the resume, because 20 years ago it was the resume, he's got the job, she's got the job. But they're realizing that they are highly intelligent, but they're not team players. They're not socially inept. They haven't built their personality. They're not going to be safe around others. And anybody that has excellent communication skills can be taught anything. Somebody that has poor communication skills can really struggle with showing up. So that's why I promote the art of conversation. In your business world, your professional world, your dating world, your relationship world, your family world, all areas of your life, it is the art of communication. And let's break it down. How does somebody feel when they're in the presence of me? Now, again, as I mentioned before, if they are misbehaving, I'm a country girl. I'm going to grab those reins real quick and real fast, and I'm going to end it. So it's not about always being so nice, but it's being so solid and so present that they feel safe and comfortable as long as they're playing a good game. And then the knowledge, the wisdom, the communication, the stories are just delicious. I love a good conversation. Yeah. It's like they give me parts of the world that I may not ever be in. So with that, oh, thanks, Cheryl. Yeah. It's just soul awakening. I remember I met a guy just a year and a half ago. And I'm in California. He was from Chicago. He was here for a couple months. And he was just eloquent in language and safe and comfortable. And he just asked these interesting questions. And then he had so many amazing questions. Stories. And I don't draw, I don't paint, but it's been a year and a half, I could pick him out of a lineup because of his energy and how he made me feel. It was inviting. Now, I could have met some guy 3 weeks ago. I probably wouldn't pick him out of a lineup because he didn't awaken anything in me. So we nailed it on the head. Conversation is a connection that is just deep and beautifully rewarding. And it's something that I want to give to people. And I want that back. And I tell my clients, it's yin and yang, back and forth. And it's 4 quarters for $1. If I said, hey, I got $1, do you have 4 quarters? I'm offering you $1. I'm asking for the same amount in return. So when I meet somebody, I want delicious conversations, which means I've got to be good at it. I've got to practice. And then I can ask for delicious conversations back, because that person on the other side of the table is going to want really good conversations. And if I'm not good at it, then they would be disappointed. And in dating, I'll tell a lot of my clients, it's like, if you don't have a life, you have nothing to talk about. So go out there and get a life. So when you're actually meeting people, you have stories. And even if you're married, if you're single, live a life where you have good stories that you'll want to share with others. And that keeps the conversation more delicious. That helps people want to be around you. It's inspiring people to live more inspired. Because sometimes it'll be like, oh yeah, I went to a goddess festival in Mariposa, camped for a couple of days, had a booth, and oh yeah, I went to Mount Shasta and UFO conference, of course. It was pretty fun, pretty cool. Yeah, oh yeah, I went shooting a few weeks back. That was nice. Yeah. And they're like, wow, you do so much. And it's just like, I don't know if I do too much or I do a lot, but I live a life that is interesting, inspiring, and rewarding to myself. So when I talk about it, I send that out with my stories. So yeah, pretty fun stuff. Cheryl, I didn't tell you this, but you and I are basically the same age. I'm 63. Because I remember you saying you're 62. And also, when you become a better communicator, you're going to remember more. A male friend of mine, he was over, and I said, no, you didn't say that. I can tell you where you are standing and word for word what you said. And he looked at me, he's like, oh, you scare me. Again, 128, I am 19, 62. So yeah, life, we want to continue to advance. And is it tough? Yes. But the universe doesn't care if it's tough or not. It's our job. We signed up for it. A Virgo for sure. Yeah. So life is rough. How can we figure it out? We're here to learn again and again and again, more and more. I'm doing some posting differently. I signed up to do more Instagram. Now I have to do this differently. And I am way over my head learning stuff. But I'm like, you got to do it. You got to figure it out. Slow it down. Figure out step 1, 2, and 3. Slow it down. 9/11. Okay. Yeah. Virgos are amazing. We're a little rough on ourselves. Yep. Artistic, the harvest. You're the tiger, of course. And number 1, which is the leader. So once you start to understand more of yourself, then you can control and handle yourself more. I say control and handle ourselves more because if I got into a 1920 or 1912 Honda Accord, it'd be like, okay, yeah, kind of slow. If I got into an F-350 dually, whoa, okay, be a little bit careful on the gas. Make sure that you stay pretty safe between the lines. And then if I got into a Ferrari, it's like be focused. So whatever you want to achieve I want to up my own game. I don't want to be comfortable in a Honda. No. No, my goodness sakes, I'm going to crawl out of my skin in front of everybody. Yeah. Oh, way cool. Way cool. Yeah. Cheryl, you're not here to carry a lot. We'll work on that. Because a lot of what you're carrying is not yours, which would be inappropriate. And you're not here to suffer for others so that they don't suffer, because they'll have to find another way of learning that lesson that you took over for them. And each time that you do that through loving kindness, their lesson is going to get even more ugly, even harder. So I want you to bow out and say, yikes, this is going to hurt, but you'll get through it. You'll get through it. So my loves, follow, subscribe, comment, just stalk me online with positives. I do look at my messages, so I will respond back. And I love what I do. And it is time for each and every human, hey Brian, to become a better communicator. And is it easy? It's not about being easy. Is it important? Absolutely. Can you do it? Yes. Will you? It's time. If you want to upgrade your life, it starts with communication. It starts with the ability to show up for yourself and show up for others. To be of service to people. Brian, what area are you in? I was just going to sign off. Because it's getting late in California. And if you're interested in meditation classes, please. And oh, yes, remember, my book came out, Healing Bodies, Healing Souls. It is on Amazon. Awaken the energy that changes everything. I've been doing the spirit work, energy work, coaching, transformational work for over 35 years. And I'm good at what I do. And my battery's getting low. Absolutely. Okay, my friends. Hopefully I will see you all again. Follow, like, and all that groovy stuff. Peace out.